Hello, Steve Arts 89. So, why don't we have serial killers anymore? Um, I don't know. There was a real obsession in pop culture with serial killers in the 90s. I really felt like it was such a thing. I think part of it was to do with the sort of rise of um, like the internet and the CSI sort of all the sort of home sleuths who sort of wanted to work out stuff like that, and there was so much more access to information, and people could open up their own websites and put up their conspiracies and all their information and things and stuff they found from other sites and other people, and it just something sort of happened in the 90s. It was interesting. Everyone was obsessed with serial killers, and there had been a lot of serial killers in I'm not sure when they started, but definitely the late 60s, the 70s and 80s. Really, the 70s into the 80s was like the big serial killer sort of era. And you had people like, Jeffrey Dahmer and um, Gacy. I've forgotten his first name. And there were others as well. There were the freeway killers, I've forgotten their names as well. I really should have written these down. But I mean, there's only a few that are really iconic. You can say the name, like Gein and Gacy and Dahmer and stuff like that. So there were a few others that don't get that sort of attention, mostly because they weren't as charismatic when they were like arrested. They didn't get so much attention. And then there were people who didn't sort of vie for the attention, like the Zodiac Killer and people like that, and BTK, who really taunted the press and wanted attention. And by that point, by the time we got to the 70s, there was also an awareness of serial killing and the attention they were getting. People wanted the attention and the fame, and they wanted to scare people, and it was an extra sort of sense of power to get like the whole city basically, afraid of them. Like who was the one who ended up in jail next to Sean Penn and Madonna had to see him? The Night Stalker, people like that. So yeah, but I just sort of realized that we don't really have serial killers anymore. And I'm like, why is that? I'm like, I think not only did it not become somehow less trendy, it also just became less practical and possible, because with the rise of CCTV and DNA and CSI and crime scene investigation, all that sort of stuff, it was no longer just in the days of Murder, She Wrote, can you work out who did it and then prove it. It was a matter of everything you do leaves a trace, everything you do leaves a step, and it's very hard to. Like, I imagine just a lot of people fantasize about killing people, but wouldn't actually do it because how the person's going to come for phone, it's going to track them to your house, it's going to get pinged, you'd have to sort of set up some sort of pre-internet sort of environment that you could trap someone in. I just don't see how anyone would do it. I see how people impulsively kill and manage to cover it up and get away with it, but planning it, I can't imagine anyone planning to do it. Now, we've only had two, to my knowledge, big sort of gay serial killers in the last like decade or so. There might have been a third one. I heard somebody's name. I have to sort of do a bit of research. But Colin Ireland was one, and he just wanted to be known as a serial killer. He just did it for the attention. So he doesn't really count. And the other one was, I have not forgotten his name. I really hope it is still up on here. Okay, yes, Bruce McArthur. He's got such a dull... That's the problem with Bruce McArthur. He wasn't that interesting. He didn't sort of get the public's attention like someone like Gein or Gacy or Dahmer. He wasn't a cannibal. He didn't kill little children or young boys or anything like that. He killed older brown men, and he was in his 60s when he did it. There was nothing sexy about him or it, and it didn't sort of get the attention that I thought it would have. I didn't even know about him for a long while. I saw the first news article about sort of them sort of suspecting someone of murder, and at that time it was one or two people, and then it turned into 8 cases against him, and possibly victims going back to the 70s. Apparently he was working in Canada's gay village when he was in his 20s, and there are around 5 or 10 gay men who were killed very much in the style of the people he killed when he was in his 60s. And the theory is that he basically was out killing, because most serial killers do start around that age. And then he basically met a woman, got married, had kids, did the conventional thing. And it wasn't until later when he came out and separated from them that he went back to killing in his 60s. Or in his 50s. By the time he was caught, he was 66. So, so they just don't make them like they used to. And no, I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but it is an interesting thing to see how this sort of cultural phenomena sort of happened and became very popular and known and obsessed on, and then just sort of disappeared with with progress and technology. And I think the only reason why we got Bruce was because he sort of went back to what he was doing in the 70s. Would a younger man have started at that age and tried to do what he did? I don't think so. But I just want to talk about it for a minute. I thought it was interesting.